Digital fraud is so pervasive now. Do you still have to worry about traditional frauds? You bet you do, now more than ever. To more easily distinguish these from online frauds, we call them offline frauds. Ready to know more? I'm Cyber Ollie. Let's dig in. Scammers still use older, more traditional methods to trick individuals and businesses. Offline fraud doesn't need a digital presence. It can defraud you just as easily using old-school methods. Consider Ponzi schemes, named after Charles Ponzi, an Italian-born swindler and crook who orchestrated one of the most infamous fraudulent investment operations in the early 20th century. Ponzi schemes pledge high returns on investments. But it's important to know they rely on new investors' funds to pay off earlier investors. The dream of profits remains, but only so long as there's a constant flow of new investors. Remember Bernie Madoff? Happy investors give testimonials. The system works great and is profitable for them. They got paid their money, unaware they're the lucky ones. If you're a ladder investor, you're just out of luck. You've lost it all. Spoofing refers to falsifying information to deceive individuals or systems. In the context of fraud, spoofing often involves creating false identities or disguising the origination of communication sources. This is done to gain the trust of victims. Email spoofing occurs when scammers finagle the sender information to make an email appear legitimate. Spoofing is a proven method of a traditional fraud. Traditional fraud schemes have been around for decades. Not surprisingly, there are steps you can take to protect yourself and minimize the risk of falling victim to them. Consider these strategies. Step number 1. Conduct due diligence. Be skeptical of high returns. Personally check out credentials and licenses. Professional credentials and a solid track record are indicators of trustworthiness. Keep up to date with financial news. Step number 2. Protect your personal information. Use secure online platforms and look for the padlock icon in the address bar. This indicates the website has a valid SSL certificate. Regularly monitor the financial accounts for your family or business. Here are some more steps to follow when you need to report fraud. Step number 1. Contact local law enforcement. Report the fraud to the relevant government agencies responsible for handling fraud cases. This includes agencies such as the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, or the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, depending on the type of fraud. Be sure to immediately inform your financial institution. Step number 2. Share information with fraud reporting organizations. Support and share public awareness campaigns. These campaigns provide information on common scams, red flags to watch, and steps to take to protect oneself. Step number 3. Investigate fraudulent practices and take legal action against fraudsters. Use enhanced due diligence with financial institutions and investment firms to verify legitimate investments and detect fraud. Step number 4. Collaborate with law enforcement agencies to share information and intelligence. Traditional fraud often spans multiple jurisdictions, requiring international cooperation to effectively combat it. Businesses provide training and resources to their employees and customers to add to their knowledge of traditional fraud schemes. This includes using secure practices and conducting phishing testing. Traditional frauds, such as Ponzi schemes, spoofing, and internet scams will continue to pose threats to people and businesses. Why? Because they can still get away with it. That's a wrap for now. Let me know what you think in the comments so we can share and discuss our experiences. Ready for my next video into the realm of digital fraud and scams? Just click on the next button